Glad to see you all again, or glad to hear from you all again. This is Shopify Kryptonite with Mikko and Teemu, and our episode is already number 25. Welcome, Mikko. What's the tip of the week?
Thank you. It's been a rocky road, but we are glad to be here. Tip of the week would have something to do with like SEO optimizing of your images. So that's a pretty precise topic, but these days you have like pretty good options on the App Store. So make sure that you have renamed the images correctly and making sure that people would find you, especially if you are selling brand items that also the other sellers are doing. So then make sure that your images are well aligned, and also of course make sure that you have SEO optimized the description on the product card. So that would be my small recommendation of the week.
Perfect, thank you. It's a small point that I think many of the merchants might even overlook because they are focusing on so many other things. About the topic of today, so we've had discussion about performance marketing or growth marketing, and I think we've kind of covered the paid ads, the retargeting part of the email marketing, and that will usually kind of get you into a place where you've grown and grown and grown, and I think at some point you're going to see a stagnation in the growth. And I think that's the point where the merchants are thinking about kind of alternative ways how they can do the advertising, how they can do the customer acquisition. What do you think? What's the first way or the first path we should be taking when we've kind of maybe hit the first couple of million in sales, and the regular paid ads in social media or our email flows with Klaviyo aren't kind of producing anymore the additional 20% in the growth rate? What do you think? What's the next step we should have a look at?
Awesome question. I love it. So the first thing that you are looking for, that are you like scalable? Is that channel or those channels that you are using scalable? So you most likely use market automation software such as Klaviyo or Omnisend to attract perhaps some of the site visitors, get them back, get those to the email list, and then of course doing active automation for existing clients. That's good, but that doesn't provide you enough growth when you have sort of reached to that first death valley. Then you are in most cases looking at Facebook or Google ads, and you have tried there like different channels. And then the issue is that in most markets, especially looking when bit smaller countries like basic European countries, average use European countries, you can only reach to a certain point. Particularly when you are selling products that are like niche products that aren't for the everybody person who is like the average of everything. So as example, within Teemu, your case, you are selling goods that are to a very small market. So then you will more easily reach that point that you can't find any more potential customers on a single country. So then one approach is that you will extend to other countries. And even in that case, you will of course find that certain spot where you can't find enough new mass where you could then find like converting visitors. So then your question is that, okay, Facebook and Google, you have been nice to me, but I'm sort of like disappointed with you because you can't provide me anymore. Or is that so? And then as a consultant, the thing that I typically notice when we look at those ad accounts and do audits is that there are still like segments which you can find even from these platforms. I give you one very typical example. You're doing lots of Facebook and Instagram advertising, and it's fairly okay. You've had better months, you've had more rough months. There was the COVID that's still going on. It can go up and down, but the basic thing that you sort of still like lack is the understanding that as example, Facebook is available on different devices, and now you are shooting 97 or 95% of your budget to mobile devices, and you forget the desktop users, or you forget forget the iPad users or whatever. That's something that should be double checked. But still the basic question is that are these enough? And the answer to you is no. You should go out fishing. You want to have more channels. You want to find channels where you can get more people into your store. And then you are looking at the following selection. There is Twitter, there is LinkedIn, there might be TikTok, there might be different channels according to the market. As example, in Asia, there is Line. There are these different display and retargeting networks. And then you are trying to decide that, hey, should I give a go? Which one to choose? And if you are big in the States, you might even want to do some Pinterest advertising. Or then if you feel that you are for the educated and smart ones, you might be able to do LinkedIn advertising. So you have like half a dozen of channels. And then the big question is that which ones are the ones for me? What about you, Teemu? Have you ever tried any of those?
I've tried the occasional Twitter. I've had a look in Pinterest. I might go there because part of our product ranges is now kind of handmade, so they might kind of get the attention either from our customers or from family members of our customers that might buy them as a present. So I think that might be something we can do. And I think I'm absolutely now in a stage where we have really kind of homogenic demographic as a customer database. So kind of extending and finding new customers from any single country seems to be, well, I don't think it's impossible, but like with the current format, how we run our paid ads, it seems to be difficult. So we've kind of extended the way, created the clone audiences, which seem to be finally working at least on an okay level. I think now we are in a stage that I would love to try to even kind of broaden the potential audience or the customer base quite a lot, because like having a few thousand buying customers, it's a sign that there's kind of demand for the brand. I think there are potential buying customers out there, but I would kind of want to do it with a way that I would maybe get our ads or brand message to be seen with a bigger audience. And then maybe Facebook isn't the correct tool in that, at least exactly now. So what do you think about display networks or things like that could they help a company in our situation or maybe a little bit bigger company?
Right. So if you look at like online marketing, that's changed a lot. If you go back 20 years, it was like more about display, and definitely out of the cases that we have done with our clients, they are not the best channels these days. They are not most like the most effective ones. You're at least able to get like lots of CPM traffic, which means that you're able to get like lots of as example, banner views, but how much converting traffic you are getting from there is completely another thing. So when we have tried different type of display networks, we have been very careful with the budget. So try that, then compare that to different paid channels such as Facebook, YouTube, Google, and so on, and then done sort of a comparison that what stuff does this bring to me. The big validation, especially when doing new customer acquisition, is that what's the quality of the traffic? Are these people that are coming from the display network even going further than front page? Are they going to compare the products? Are they adding anything to cart? Are they doing any comparison there? Are they spending more time in the store than 15 seconds? So if the quality is very low, then you know that, okay, I'm pretty much most likely like wasting my money. But however, if the quality is like even average, then that could be a I don't know, probably like decent form of customer acquisition. But it's like a tough call these days. And if I look at these like direct to consumers, which are our biggest merchants, they are not that focused on display networks. However, some of them are doing some targeted display trials, and they've had like decent results. And maybe the typical question is that when to do that. You can, as example, try to do that when you're having a big campaign. That might be useful. And then where the display networks like Criteo actually are useful are in the retargeting phase, where you can then like sort of like follow the user among the whole internet, and then it actually brings you some value, or might bring some value if you can then catch the person to purchase. But for new customer acquisition, our like basic scope has been that it's better to try these other social media channels, their paid acquisition instead of display networks. However, if you want to try, you can try those. And then if you are in a very narrow segment, as you are with your fly fishing store, then you should probably like focus on more of the forums and those places that can then to do like site specific display campaigns, or if they have some own display network focused there, then you would at least have sort of like validation that these are in my category.
I tried it once and the results were unbelievably bad. So it was getting low value traffic with kind of no actions on the site. But I've had a discussion with one of the biggest display network provider, and I think it's something we're interested in trying. The cost it's reasonable, so we're talking about a few €1,000 on a monthly basis. That's kind of the minimum spend that you need to put in there. Obviously, for company our size, it's not a risk, but it's still going to be an investment if you compare it to social media page channels where you can basically spend a few euros per day per target group. So kind of you're going to go, at least on some level, you're going to be blind when you start with the display network, because you don't just know what kind of results you're going to get from there. And I wouldn't spend the last cash in the display networks, but it's an interesting idea, and I think we're gonna give it a go sometime in the near future.
Definitely. And then I just want to highlight that that's something that you can try. And then out of these like other social media networks such as like Twitter, LinkedIn or Pinterest, make sure that you are doing like conversion-based traffic there. So if that's only available as it is, make sure that you are trying that, and then do sort of a comparison between different channels. And then perhaps the last advice there would be that be gentle when looking at the quality of the traffic and the pricing. So most likely you are already using the best networks out there. If you are doing Google and Facebook advertising, those might be the most effective ones. However, if you want to extend your reach and get like clients that for some reason aren't on Facebook or Google, then you might need to pay a bit more for that actual client. And then out of the trials that we have done with our clients within these other networks, it takes typically like several months before you get them to function on the level they should. So as example, within Twitter advertising, it took us like in one client case 3.5 months to get it actually like smooth and rocking and providing that level of traffic that actually makes lots of sense for them today. And they are now buying lots of Twitter advertising. That's now their like number 2 channel. So that seemed to work for them, but in some other case it might not. And same goes with like LinkedIn. That's a very different kind of like business network. But we've had some like, as example, furniture cases where that had made sense to do advertising there. It's very expensive, but there you might be able to target the leads to company CEOs or those CFOs that are sitting under a gold mine. So you might be able to do very targeted marketing if that's what you're looking for.
Basically, if we summarize, then I think that the advice that we can give out to our listeners is that you have to kind of pre-plan the new channel or the way that you're going to spend in the ads, and then you need to commit that you're probably just going to lose your money if you go and do it for a couple of weeks or just a month. So you kind of need to have a little faith and at least do a full quarter and then have a deep look on the results and maybe then continue or say that, okay, we're done with this channel. They didn't provide us anything new.
Definitely. And all of these channels are very different. So if I put these in line, please ask someone to help you. As example, we've helped our clients. If you haven't done any Twitter acquisition ever, take a specialist to help you out with that particular channel to make sure that your content is good for the platform and you're utilizing the platform in a way it should be done. So don't try everything yourself. Ask for help. Then you will make sure that at least the test is getting the maximum traction it only can get.
Absolutely. Thank you for the advice, Mikko. Thank you for everyone who was listening or watching the episode. This was number 25, so the first quarter out of the Celebrity 100 episode has now been done, and hopefully we can do the 100th episode sometime soon. See you.
Take care. Bye-bye.